Okay, so this is a follow-up video to my TOPSKY Prime 1S video initial impressions I did a few weeks ago. And as you saw in that video, I got 3 of these now, but you saw in that video, this was the prototype, I guess, or early release version. See, it's a little bit different. The buttons are white and not black. And these other 2 ones are the ones I got after this first one. As you recall from that video, this mode button wasn't working, and basically it's broken, and I couldn't change any of the settings. Showing you those settings and everything are kind of pointless because I'm not really sure I can recommend this goggle at all. After getting this one and having it damaged, obviously from shipping, I got a couple more from some other vendors. Obviously these 2 here with the black buttons are the actual released versions. This one here was the second one I got, and I'm not going to tell you which vendors I got these from because I don't think the vendors matter. They're all from TOPSKY, and they all have issues, so the vendors don't matter. In any case, I know people are going to ask me, well, which vendor did it come from? Well, I don't think it matters. This one here, when it arrived, I tried to fly, so the receiver on the first one seemed to be working, or at least initially when I was flying around, it seemed to be okay. I later discovered that in all 3 of these, the receiver here on, I guess, the left side, if it's on your head, it'll be on your left side, doesn't seem to do anything. And there is actually a receiver. There's actually 2 receivers in here. I opened it up, and there actually is a second receiver in here, but doesn't seem to do anything. So either the receiver doesn't work or the diversity switching doesn't seem to work in the software. So I don't know if they can fix it in a firmware upgrade or if they screwed it up somehow in the design. The only antenna that seems to have any sort of reception is the one on the right. The one on the left, doesn't matter what kind of antenna I put in there. If I don't have anything on here, I can't get any reception from this, no matter what antenna I put on this side. But as soon as I switch the antenna over to this side, I immediately can get reception. So I can, and that's the same on all 3 of these. So, and then the second one that I got, which was this one, obviously the buttons were working. No damage from shipping. That was fine. Obviously, the receiver problems on all 3 of these. For this one on the left, but the one problem I was having on this one is I would be flying around. And all of a sudden the receiver would just glitch out, and it was almost like it was changing channels on me, like she just randomly switching to a different channel for some reason. Of course I would lose video and end up crashing, and that would happen a lot. And I had noticed that it happened way more often if the battery was less than half full. If it was more than half full, the frequency of the dropouts were less, but as the battery drained, the frequency of the dropouts increased. So that was really, I think there's some sort of power management problem in this particular goggle. So yeah, this one was a total dud. So I was hoping that after getting the second one, I could at least put out a follow-up video, but then of course I couldn't, because I couldn't really do anything with this one. So I waited, because I knew that more were coming. So I was like, okay, here's a third one, and this one here does seem to be working, with the exception of the left receiver not doing anything. So I am able to fly with this one, and I don't have the receiver dropouts I was having on the second one that I got. Now, is it flyable? Yes, it's flyable, and you'll see that. I'll show you some demo footage of me flying this around. The screens are large, the field of view is large, but the screen resolution does seem to be not quite 640 by 480 as they claim, because the detail that you can see on these large screens is less than what you can see on a smaller screens, like on the Fat Sharks, and even like on the Eachine VRD3 goggle that I reviewed it was last week. So while you can fly around, if you are flying around a lot of trees and stuff like that, you're not gonna be able to see a lot of detail until you're really close to the objects. Yeah, the reception seemed to be fine for close range because I'm obviously just flying off of one antenna, no real diversity working. But I think that if you flew further away, and I did try seeing what the reception was like on just the one antenna further away, you do get breakups after about 150 meters, and then it drops off from there. Just with the circular polarized antenna on 25 milliwatts, pretty typical. So I would say this receiver is pretty average, the one that's at least working. Obviously you can get more range if I switch this to a patch antenna or something like that, but I didn't bother to test that because I don't really fly far away anyway. And so for the money, I mean, if you're getting this for 80 bucks, if it's on super sale or whatever, flash sale, if you don't mind, that's not really, diversity's not really working, and you can deal with the focus issues. I mean, there's all the kind. There's a lot of, basically, there's a lot of roadblocks for most people for finding this to be usable. Now, for me, yeah, I tend to not have a lot of focus issues like some people do, so it was not a big deal. I was able to focus on this without wearing my glasses. You wear glasses. IPD adjustments do work. The diopter adjustment does work on these two, the second ones. The first one that I got was broken. But it doesn't seem to do much in terms of movement of the lenses, so it's maybe a few millimeters, so I couldn't really tell much of a difference either way. Of course, someone with more sensitive eyes or with focus issues, it may make a difference. I couldn't tell either way, so for me, it made no difference whatsoever if this was working or not. So yeah, for the money, honestly, I would just spend it. Instead of spending 80 bucks on this, I would spend the $55 to $60 on the VRD3s. They are very comfortable to wear. I thought the image was fine on that one. It's a pretty good goggle. It has DVR as well, and has true diversity, and that diversity was working. So yeah, and also the fit on this one is not as good because it's a very sharp angle on the side. So it does, for people with wider heads, it is kind of a just more light leakage and stuff like that too. So bottom line is, I think that they need to do some work on it. If they can fix the receiver issue where the diversity is working properly, hopefully maybe with a firmware update, we'll see. I don't know. Right now it's not working for me. And also getting better screens in here. If the screens had more detail, more actual resolution, I think that would be better. Then it would be usable, and then also fix the fitment issues here with this. They just have to change the mold on this part of the plastic here, so it's wider, more comfortable. They can adjust that. That's a pretty minor change. So I think it has potential. I think the biggest thing is they got to change the screens. I mean, obviously there's a low cost price point here, but yeah, because you got two screens in there, so they're definitely cutting the cost on the screens. But if they can improve that, I think it'll make a huge difference, and this would make a much more usable goggle. But in its current form, I would suggest not getting this one. I would suggest getting the VRD3s instead of this one. I think that one is going to be a much better experience for more people, in my opinion. Anyway, I think that's going to do for this video. Yeah, basically I'm kind of bummed about these. They didn't look like they had a lot of potential. But right now I think that I would wait to see what improvements they make before actually jumping on this and buying it. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.